Welcome back to another episode of The Daily Dose in Life Unedited. What's up, guys? How we doing? All right, today's episode is going out to everyone who at one time or another had super strong feelings on anything and has come to humbly change their mind. Today's episode is for everyone who at one time or another said things like, I'll never do that. I don't know how these mothers allow this to happen. I would never do this. And then they reach a point in their life where they know better, so they must do better. But in doing so, they also sort of feel like a hypocrite, right? Especially if you grew up in a house that took such pride and joy in loyalty, in commitment, in honoring your word, right? Like you were not allowed to quit things. That was me. I remember in 4th grade, I picked the viola as my instrument because you start playing an instrument in 4th grade. And it was me and my best friend. And like 2 months into school, she quit. And her mom was like, it's okay. And my mom refused. She's like, you don't have to play again next year, but you cannot quit this year. And so I grew up with that super instilled in me. We were not allowed to quit anything. You didn't have to re-up when your time was up to make a decision, but you were never allowed to quit. And now I sit here at 40 and I have such mixed feelings about this. Because on one hand, I agree wholeheartedly with all of it. You made a commitment, you have to honor that commitment, right? But on the other hand, it also led me to feel like I was never allowed to change my mind. And that's a really hard place to live your life. So for instance, I remember when I was 19 weeks pregnant and deciding that I didn't want to go back to work full time. But I remember feeling like such a hypocrite because I never, ever, ever wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I felt like I had this inner battle for so long. And the same thing happened recently when it came time for me to fully pull the trigger and say I'm going to close fitness. Okay? I knew in my heart that's what I wanted to do. But I was taking me making that decision as a failure. And I was ashamed of making that decision because I said I was going to own this and I said I was going to own it forever. And when I opened the doors, that's what I originally thought I wanted, right? So somewhere over the years, I stopped allowing myself permission to grow, to change my mind, which I always equated to flaky. But now, what if we equate it to knowing better so we do better? This was one of the concepts that I feel like once I fully embraced it, once I owned it, once I stopped feeling guilty, once I stopped beating myself up and calling myself names because I changed my mind, it catapulted me into the future. It allowed me to pivot. It allowed me to be resilient. It allowed me to, what is the word? Like, I'm thinking of, I don't know, if you don't have a diffuser, this probably is going to make no sense to you. But like, I have a Young Living, essentially oils diffuser, right? And you take off the top and there's that like little notch. So when you go to put the top back on after you fill it with water, you have to like spin it until it like falls into place, right? And once those two notches line up, it slides right on and it fits perfectly. But if they're not lined up, it could look like it fits, but it's forever shaky. Does that make sense? And I spent years of my life being forever shaky simply because I didn't want to be flaky. I just realized that rhyme right there. That was not intentional. But I want you to just like think about that. So for every person out there, if this is you, if you have struggled with this, if the universe is serving you up some good old-fashioned humble pie over and over and over again, I got it over and over and over again. And a few times I even got that humble pie right into my face, let me tell you. I want you to recognize a couple things. One, every piece of humble pie that you eat makes for greater self-growth. Okay? You cannot grow without that humble pie. It's like the humble pie is, you know, when you plant flowers in the spring and in the summer, and if you don't put down any fertilizer and you just water and water and water, the flowers will grow, right? But man, you put down like a little bit of Miracle-Gro and a little bit of fertilizer in the right combinations, and those flowers bloom. That's what humble pie does to us. It makes us bloom. So one, I want you to thank every piece of humble pie that you get. And number two, I want to officially give you permission to change your mind. Every decision that we make, and this is one of the single greatest lessons I have learned, so long as when I made my decision, my intentions were pure. When I said what I said, my intentions were pure. So when I looked at my fitness client and I said, I have no intention of closing fitness, I 100% meant that. But then my circumstances changed. And because my circumstances changed, what I needed, what I was looking for, changed. And that's okay. So I want to give you permission to change your mind, to walk away from the things that are not working. I don't care what the commitment you made was. Do what you need to do for you. And when you become okay with that concept, when you put yourself first, you're getting ready to bloom. Have a fantastic day, my friends. Go out and do something good today.